Craig Stout, C-R-A-I-G-S-T-O-U-T, Sergeant with the Fayetteville Police Department. We received several 911 calls today about a plane going down here on Martin Luther King Boulevard. From what we're able to determine, a plane left the Bentonville Airport occupied with 3 people. Immediately after takeoff, they started experiencing oil pressure loss. They were attempting to make it to the closest field, which is Drake Field. Drake Field had them circling, trying to angle in their approach whenever they suffered a very severe loss of oil pressure. They were losing engine and altitude, so they popped the emergency chute on the plane, which brought them down slowly. However, they did land here on Martin Luther King. A truck going by did impact with the plane as it went down. There were 3 people in the plane, 1 person in the car. We did have a few people injured that were transported to the hospital with minor injuries. At this point, we're asking that everyone kind of avoid Martin Luther King at this point, just because it's going to be blocked off for an undetermined amount of time. We've been in contact with the FAA and the NTSB, trying to determine if we have to leave the plane in place or if we can move it at this point. Right now, there was a small fuel leak on the plane. It was under 25 gallons, and the fire department had it contained relatively quickly. From here, like I say, we're just trying to really have as much people avoid Martin Luther King as we can.
So at this point, MLK could be closed for an indefinite amount of time.
We just don't know how long until we hear back from the FAA. Obviously, until we hear back from them and the NTSB as to whether we can start offloading fuel, whether they want to come here, do an on-site inspection. But again, we are going to look at doing things like offloading fuel just for a safety of people. Again, we have several agencies that are trying to coordinate on this right now.
Who are the 3 people on the plane?
I don't have their names just yet. Hopefully I'll have that here before too terribly long. Again, no one had any major injuries. A couple people were transported with some minor injuries.
And the truck, was it commercial or private?
It was a private truck. It was just a black pickup truck. I'm not sure of the make and model.
Where did it come from?
It came from Bentonville Airport is where they originated from.
What was the destination that they had?
Waco, Texas.
¿Tiene identificado los nombres?
Was it 3 people taken?
I don't know exactly how many people were taken to the hospital. There were 3 people in the vehicle. I do know that the lady who was in the car who was driving the truck was transported. I don't know how many passengers from the plane were transported just yet.
Were they all adults and children?
I don't have that information.
Where were they taken?
Nearest hospital, again, I don't know whether that would be Washington Regional or Northwest. Typically it's Washington Regional, but I don't know yet.
How severe were their injuries?
Again, nothing that appeared to be life-threatening on the outset. Again, just because of the nature of the crash. Again, there were some injuries. Obviously, what we saw were more scrapes, bruises, but again, we don't know about internal injuries. But again, nothing, at least on the onset, that appeared to be any type of life-threatening injury.
There's a lot around here. Talk about how lucky it is that landed good.
Well, again, it's one of those, just given the nature of where this is at, the proximity to the high school, the university. Again, we're very fortunate that no one was hurt any worse than they were, and that the plane didn't impact into a building or something like that.
Did the high school have to close because of it?
No, high school is still open, I believe. Again, it's not really going to impact them at this point. We are working with the school on a possible contingency plan for pickup of, if the road is going to be blocked for an extended period of time, but we're working with the school administration on that.
Is this your first plane crash, Kevin?
Again, I know that there's been others in the area, but again, none that have happened in the city limits of Fayetteville that I'm familiar with.
Is this the local plane right here in Rogers? Is it from WGA Aviation?
I have no idea where the plane comes from. All right, I'll be back here in a little bit once I get some more information. So, say meet me back here in about 30 minutes.